Clancy, Welsh. I was working with Garco Construction during my presidency. I was fortunate to have Mark Poe and Mark Murphy as my chairs at that time. The biggest issue we faced was trying to deal with the drive-up coffee bar that was in our parking lot that we wanted to pave. But actually, I think one of the biggest issues that we faced at that time is we were coming off of the Great Recession. And we were actually coming out of the Great Recession, but for the construction industry, it was really starting to impact us on the heavy highway side especially, and then also vertical construction. We had weathered the storm for a couple of years, but it was really starting to impact us as an industry in this area. Yeah, I think one of my major goals coming in, because I was one of the younger presidents at the time, and I really kind of felt like the AGC was an old guard with at the time, I think I called them blue hairs, which I'm now becoming. But one of my goals and initiatives was really get the youth involved, and so we started to restart the young execs, young leadership group. Wanted to get as much involvement as we could out of the younger generation of our industry. Wow, there's so many great events. I mean, it was really fun traveling back east. At the time, I wasn't overly political, and so to have that opportunity to go back to Washington, D.C., to take a look at some of the initiatives that were affecting us as an industry, not only locally, but at the national level, was a great experience. I've always enjoyed the annual convention. I started going to the annual convention in 1988 at the age of 15, 16 years old. When my father was the president, and it was just great to see our community of contractors come together. I think a lot of times we're competitors, and the annual convention and a lot of the other events that we have kind of bring us together. We can drop our guard. Yeah, so the economy was pretty challenging. I think, like I said previously, we were really coming out of the Great Recession, and so many of the projects, especially on the federal government side, had been funded previously, but as we started to get into 2009 and then moving out of my presidency, it was a very difficult economy for all of us, very challenging. Well, a lot of the staff is still here. You know, I mean, Wayne was amazing, and Cheryl was his right-hand woman, and you could see her coming up through the ranks. But I think at that time, both Mary and Danette were here, and it was really just a welcoming group. And it says a lot that 12 years later, 11 years later, a lot of that staff is still here with us. Well, I started in construction early. Tim and Ginge Etter bought the company back in 1978. So I was 7 or 8 years old. So I was around the industry. Worked a lot of my summers in the shop. And when I went to college, I was ready to get out of Spokane and really didn't want anything to do with construction at that time. I thought I'd never come back. And during my college career, I just started to come back towards that. We were building the Spokane Arena at the time when I was in college, and so I spent the summer working a night shift or a swing shift and really started to get engaged into the construction industry. Well, I've been pretty fortunate with some pretty significant projects in this area, starting when I came back to Central Valley High School, which was one of the first high schools, new high schools built in the area for a long time. Since that time, I've been involved with the Volker Center, Gonzaga University's practice facility, most recently the U.S. Pavilion, which was really great just from the standpoint that that was a project that Tim had worked on as a project engineer in 1973, and so to have the opportunity to renovate that facility and bring it up to today's generation was really exciting. I think technology has had an impact that I think we're still behind a lot of other industries with our use of technology. But it's great to see our field people out there using iPads, using different technologies that are available to us, and I think that's going to continue to develop over time. Well, I think the organization has been always brought our community together of contractors. I think this year, especially when you look at what we have done under this pandemic and Hollis and the entire group leading us through and really being innovators in how to keep construction going through this extremely difficult time, really shows what the organization can do as a group when we come together. It's been fantastic to see. We are the AGC.